We've had another sticker come into the channel too. This is a channel that is extremely interesting. Kevin from New Zealand, Machine NZ. Kevin's currently working on the David Kurzel hit and miss engine. This engine absolutely fascinates me, and one day I'd really like to have a crack at making one, but I've really got to improve my skills before I have a crack at that. I've seen the plans for the engine on the internet, and man oh man, it's a big build. It's there's a lot in it. Like, I studied the plans a little bit and it was way over my head to start with, and it still is in a big way, but I give Kevin 100%. He's doing a fantastic job, and it looks a masterpiece. Kevin also included a lovely little letter in with a sticker, which I truly appreciate, Kev. Yeah, it means a lot, mate. So guys, please go, and you've probably seen Kevin anyway, but please go and check out Machine NZ. He's got an awesome laser printer too, or laser cutter. That is a cracker machine. Yeah, I'd like one of those too. You've got all the things I'd like, Kev. You want to do a swap? Sure, we can swap something. I'll put you down here, mate. You're in some really good company there. Tom, Fred, Prezzo, all these guys. That that fills over half the door now. Check that out. Maybe when we starting on this bastard. Oh dear, I never thought I would have got this many stickers, I can tell you. But have a good look, guys. These are some awesome creators. They're all awesome creators. Go and check them out. Show them a bit of love. They put there's a lot of work that goes into making a video. Go and give them a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, throw a subscription their way. I'm sure I'm speaking for all of us here. Getting the comments, the thumbs up, the subscription, that's what keeps us wanting to make more videos. You know, I've learnt so much off all these guys over the time. There's lots to be learnt, and I wouldn't be making the stuff I'm making now if it wasn't for half these guys, I tell you. So anyway, thanks very much, Kev. I really appreciate that, mate. It means a lot. So the next piece we're going to attack on this spindle is the actual spindle shaft. The way I'm going to make this, and the way the book says to turn it in between centres to gain all your accuracy, as much accuracy as possible. It has to have a 5/16 through hole for a drawbar. I don't have a long series drill, so what my plan is to go fraction under this 5/16, drill it from both ends. Once this spindle shaft is made, it gets obviously mounted into the spindle housing, and then where the lock nut goes on the end, you hold that in the chuck and the body in a fixed steady, and then you turn this taper true, and you turn this 1 1/8 in, you turn that to exactly 312.5 thou diameter, for that's where the arbors fit. If I drill it straight to 5/16, then I've really got nothing to play with to turn it true to the actual spindle. The only drive dog I own is this one, which obviously don't fit. Now this was a high tensile bolt, which it recommends to make it have a good high tensile bolt in the book. Instead of trying to trepand this where the seal or which acts as a seal. I'm going to machine it to 685 thousandths, and then I'll make a collar up to Loctite on afterwards. I've never ever turned between centres, so this is all new to me, so I had to get the faceplate out and give her a good wash, get all the cosmoline off it. Geez, that's hard shit to get off. Yeah, so once, so I'll bring yours back once I've got this hole through, right through the centre, and a centre, 60-degree centre in each end to hold in the between centres and set up on the faceplate. I'll bring this back, and then we're going to turn this section here, and then it's got to have a thread put on it, which is, it says here, in the book it says half 40 TPI, believe it or not, which I think we might alter that a little bit. It says for a fine thread, but now you're going to get that. That's a bit fine. I don't know. We'll work it out. Yeah, so I've got a bit of nutting out here to do. So I'm not going to bore you with roughing this down, and I'll bring you back when I get it in the lathe in between centres. It's all a big learner curve, this one, I can tell you. Okay, so sorry I didn't bring this back earlier, but I've been chasing a half a thou on the tailstock again. So I've got a piece of high-speed steel in here, between centres obviously. I'm down to my final cut. So 512 and 4/10. Yeah, I didn't think that tailstock was tight enough. So we're 2 thou up on this end. 2 thou up on this end, and I didn't have the tailstock tight enough, as you can see. I screwed up there. I wasn't going to touch that tailstock, and I thought it is a bit touch loose. That's my bad mistake there. Oh well. Well, it didn't take all that long at all to polish that up. It's got one little tight spot there in the middle. It butts right up to the end. So we've got a reasonably good fit. Now I can turn it around and finish doing this end here. It's only a thin-walled bloody spindle. Okay, this journal here, or call it a journal if you want, that piece there, it's got about 64 thou off it. Bring it down to 685. Sure it was 685, yeah. Okay, so I've turned that down to, it's about 3 thou high. I'm going to take it out of here because I'm having trouble keep, this dog's just doesn't want to grip that real well. Every now and then wants to slip. And I don't really want to do it up any tighter just in case I deform the actual cylinder. So I've decided I'll take it out and I'll gently clamp it into 3-jaw and polish this down to size. The print calls for 13mm Well, part of the book says 13mm 32 TPI, and it states there it's an unknown, you know, it's a made up thread. Another part of it says half 32s, like half inch 32 TPI. So I've just said bugger it, I'll make it at half 20, it's still a fine thread. So I winged that and I got that right. There's a vacuum cleaner going. Bloody hell. Whippersnipper blower now, vacuum cleaner. All sorts this afternoon. That's actually a really, really good fit. Surprised myself. Well, that's the guts of the spindle up to now. All I've got left to do is make the collar up, and then the rest has to be done once it's installed into the actual spindle housing. This is going to become the rest of the spindle that has the I don't know how they pronounce it. It's some seal, I don't know how they pronounce it. I'll put the word up on the screen if I remember. Bugger if I can pronounce it. Anyway, you'll see, you'll get the gist of when I make it, of what it does. So obviously it has to be bored out to fit over this, and then have another counter bore put in it, and then reduced down to 985 thousandths, I believe. I think that's right. One thing I like about this lathe, you can get rid of material quick. So I hope I haven't gone too much undersize here. Half thou under. We can live with that. Internal bore now. I've got around 45 thou to come out of that bore. I just done a clean up pass. They measured up, got about 45 thou to come out. That'll do, mate. That one's good. Now, I'll take roughly 65 thou out of this now, or 130 thou, 65 aside, for a depth of bloody piece of paper. 182 thou deep. If I've done all my sums right, which I'm not a mathematician's arse. I'm shooting for 8.15. I've got 8.16, which is going to be plenty good enough for this seal. It fits either end as well. But I've got to knock off for the night because young fella's at the door telling me my show's on TV and I better go inside. Okay, it's the next morning and I've set up part and tool. Now this section has to be 3/8 of an inch long. I've set it up so I've got 5 thou extra I can put back in the chuck and face it off. No doubt that will be hot. I've just chucked the spindle shaft back up for a second. This is going to get Loctited onto there obviously, so I've just put a threading tool in here. I just want to put a simple little groove in there just to make sure there's the Loctite, because it's such a tight fit, it does not push out, so it does retain a little bit of Loctite and create a good bond. All it needs. It's just to make sure it does get a good bond, that's all. Which I'm sure it will. Okay, now what I've done, I've slid it over where it's got to be, and I'll slide it back. Then there's none can get inside that seal. Inside of that nose there. And that's flush with the top. Now as for the taper, the 40-degree taper inside this nose, that's going to have to be done once it's actually mounted in the spindle and in the lathe. So hold this, once it's got the bearings and all that, you hold it by the nut and then use a fixed steady to hold the body, and obviously the spindle will spin, and then you turn the taper and 1 1/8 out to 312.5 thousandths, and that'll give it, make it true to the spindle. So the book says. So as you can see, the way the seal works, there's a groove in there. So in there, when they interlock, apparently the dust and so on can't get inside and around that corner and then into the bearings. So it's got to do a big S-bend. Apparently it can't do that. That's that part done. Next part to make is this pulley. says, I believe the LA means aluminium, but I'm going to make mine out of 4140. I haven't got any aluminium rounds like bar stock. I do have this is only a piece about 100mm long, 4140 I've cut I had here. So that's what it's going to be made out of. I've set a stop down here, 5/8 of an inch in from this shoulder, from this face. This has to be reduced down to 685 thousandths. So there is about 940 odd thou to come off. So there's a bit. Before I go any further, I've got to kick this out in the chuck a touch more, otherwise I'm not going to have enough room to part it off, and I didn't give that a bloody thought. I thought I had heaps. Anyway, I'll fix that and come back. There's 6 thou to come off that, but I'll let that cool down because it's pretty hot. And I find the Scotch bright between now and then too. I'm freaking hopeless at losing stuff at the moment. It's starting to give me the shits. I can go ahead and put the V in it for the pulley, and I've got to take a bit more off this outer face. And have a clean up. Now I dropped the freaking electrons. The boss is laughing at me too. Okay, to put this V in the pulley, I'm going to plunge in with the parting tool. The depth of the V is 250 thou. So I've set an indicator up. So we'll plunge in there, eh? We're a DRO would be handy, wouldn't it? I ain't got one. So what I've got is I've got the tool set on the edge of this side of this flange here. There has to be, according to the plan, 1/32 of flat left, which is 31 thou. I've got a dial indicator set up on the carriage. So I'm going to shift in 31 thou, which is right there. Block the carriage off at that. And I'm slowly going to plunge this in until this touches that flange down in the middle there. Hopefully this should work. If you think that part looks different than the last one, you'll just be guessing right, because it is. I had to remake it because I screwed the angles up. So I just pick up where I left off from before. So I've got the compound kicked over at 15 degrees to give a 30-degree included angle for the V. So I hope it works this time. That one worked out pretty good by the look of it. So I just got to kick the compound over now, 15 degrees the other direction. Put this other side in. It's done. Okay, so I've been in and editing the video, and I've discovered that I have lost a shitload of footage. Not overly happy about it at all, because I had the footage of assembling this spindle, and now it's assembled and machined the taper. I can't pull it apart again. Otherwise it says in the book here that once they pull it apart you won't get them back concentric again. So I'm a bit peeved. Yeah, not real excited about it, but what it is what it is. I don't know whether I formatted the card and they didn't, because I download the footage onto the computer off the card, and I hit the delete once it's downloaded, like watch the cards in the computer. Whether I've hit delete before I've downloaded, I don't know, but anyway, shit happens. Well, I can't do anything about it. I ain't gonna make it again. So that's the finished article. Now I'm a bit cheesed off that I actually marred this nut up a fair bit. That pulley was meant to have a keyway in it, but I couldn't work out a way to cut the keyway because I haven't got a brooch, like any brooches or anything. So I machined a flat on the actual shaft and just put a set screw in there. So I could probably, that set screw would probably hold everything nice and tight and do that nut again, like make a new nut again, but it's got no shitty marks in it, which I may do at a later date. But anyway, that's what it is. So as far as I'm concerned, the actual spindle is complete. So yeah, once again I do apologise about not showing a whole lot of it, but what can I do? The joys of video making. Yeah. Anyway, That's another one ticked off, and I reckon I'll be nearly attacking this one on video next, I'd say. There we go, guys. I do apologise again. Leave some comments, what you think, and yeah, where I can go a bit better. Thanks, guys.